So hi guys, it's David here, back with a new video here on Bat Universe. Today we're doing a review with the Legion of Geeks, a really great Instagram account that I recommend you all to follow. He's one of the few guys that always speaks his mind when it comes to whatever the fuck it is. He always says what he thinks, and I have a lot of respect for that, and that's why I wanted him here for today's video, because usually when you and I have a discussion, it can get quite heated, right? But
yeah, I mean,
I like that.
It tends to get heated with everybody. But that isn't, that's a thing that just happens, and it's not serious at the end of the day. We're talking about fiction, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I really love that in a certain way. I think that's really funny and never really fucks with our friendship. So I like that as well. But we have a few points here that we're going to speak about the The Batman 2022 that came out 1st of March that we've both already seen. So yeah, first off we got the plot, and I don't know if you agree with me on this one, but I think the trailers showed a little bit too much of the plot. There was still plot turns that I did not expect or see coming, but most of the plot I thought was too revealed, and they also kind of revealed the Riddler, or the riddles. They kind of told us them, so they were already solved, which was kind of a bummer in my opinion. But I don't know, what's your opinion on this?
I think by far my biggest complaint for the movie is that the trailer spoiled pretty much everything. And I think going forward, I might just not watch trailers for DC movies. But it was I don't know, it was just bad marketing on their part, and I know that it's not fair to fault the movie for its marketing. You got to judge the movie as a movie, but the marketing was just such a big part of this movie. It's all we had for the 3 years it was in production. It kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and that was part of it too. That's why you never should delay a movie more than once. You just shouldn't, because then expectations get way too high, and then the trailers have to show everything because they have to keep the hype going. So that really bothered me. Yeah. I felt like the little reveals and stuff, for me personally, I mean, we can talk about them and stuff, but I felt like I saw everything coming. It was and by the way, this is a spoiler, right?
Yeah, this is a spoiler review. You can reveal whatever.
Okay, so it's oh, the Waynes are corrupt. Okay, bro, we've seen this a billion times now. That's not a surprise to me. I will say though, the whole they're corrupt, but they technically weren't, because then Falcone is oh, he only did it. I mean, not Falcone, but Alfred's he only did it once and he tried to take it back. I did like that. I mean, I it's not a huge twist, but it's okay, at least they did their own little spin on it. And also the only other one I can really think of is Catwoman is Falcone's daughter, but that's not even a twist or anything. Anybody who's read The Long Halloween knows this shit. Yeah. It's just I don't know. I saw it coming a mile away, and the one that I would say that had they gone through with it, I would have been holy shit, was when Batman's talking to Riddler in the cell. Riddler's saying Bruce Wayne over and over again, and there's a security camera, and I was oh shit, Riddler's plan has been to there's a security camera, it's already on footage, everybody will know who Batman is in this universe. I that isn't how I like it personally, but I thought that would have been a really ballsy move. It would have been something completely different, while still keeping who the character is. But no, I mean, I don't know if it's they're saving that for a sequel or something, but from the looks of it, I don't know, they showed that security camera for no reason. It was just a cinematic thing or something. But for me, yeah, I don't know, the plot itself, the mystery and stuff, it's just I don't know, I like the themes. I like the overall themes of the movie that come into play at the end, but the actual plot, I do like a mystery, but this mystery just wasn't it for me, because we saw it coming, and the promotions gave it all away the whole time, and especially the tie-in book too, the little prequel novel. It was just all ruined by everything we knew beforehand. So what do you think?
Yeah, the part with the security camera, I don't know if I got this right, but when he said Bruce Wayne a bunch of times, I first thought that because we know he mentioned it in the trailers and it kind of gave away the idea of him knowing who Bruce Wayne is, but then he mentions that, you know, was the one that we didn't caught. So I was wondering if that was a peek to him not knowing that Batman was Bruce Wayne after all, because in that case, wouldn't he, you know, tell people at Arkham and stuff like that? But that's kind of how I took took in that part. Other than that, I think like plot turns that I saw into like stories or in trailers and such was I thought that Carmine would have a bigger part in the movie than he did, and I didn't think he would die like he did. But either way, like he's not a character you usually use that much. So I don't really mind that. But one thing that really made me happy was the fact that Colin Farrell said that he only recorded 1 or 2 scenes as Penguin, and that kind of had me bummed for a bit, but I kind of understood that he wouldn't play it as much in the movie because, you know, having too many villains usually gets fucked up. But he was a lot more in the movie than I expected him to be, and I was really satisfied with his performance of the Penguin. So that was one twist, that was something he as an actor kind of misled me on, which I really enjoyed. I'll say
I actually think Colin Farrell was probably the best performance in the movie, which is something I didn't expect. But I think Penguin was in it more than I expected to, and I liked it. I think Penguin was in it the right amount for the story. I would like to see more before I'm able to judge his performance, but this movie wasn't about him. No. So I will say the one character who was in this for absolutely nothing, and I was surprised, was fucking Alfred.
Yeah.
Dude, Alfred was in this for 4 scenes.
Yeah.
4 scenes of Alfred in a Batman movie. Are you fucking shitting me right now? Like, I don't know. Like, I get maybe it was like because he was filming Venom Let There Be Carnage or whatever, Andy Serkis, but bro, like that was stupid. Like Alfred, it should be the heart of every Batman film. I don't know.
That
it
bummed me the fuck up as well, especially since Matt Reeves himself said that Alfred's and Bruce's relationship is the heart of the movie. That got me feeling like, okay, they will have a huge part together. And don't get me wrong, the scenes that they had together, they were heavy, they were really good, but there were too few of them, right? You didn't really get to feel that bond between Bruce and Alfred. And, you know, when the whole thing with Alfred almost dying, which everyone understood, you know, he won't die because it's the second year, it's the first movie, right? It would have been an interesting take, maybe, but we knew that wouldn't happen. And when he holds his hand, it's like, I can't lose someone that I love, or something like that. You don't really care that much because you haven't seen him throughout the full movie. You kind of forget that Alfred exists for a moment, which really bummed me the fuck out.
Yeah, man, I mean, totally. Like, thank you, because I feel like people aren't talking about that. My biggest issue with this film, one of my biggest issues is, I feel like they did this thing which is similar to the DCEU, which, don't get me wrong, this is better than the DCEU, but they still did this thing where it's like, they expect you to care for these characters based on what we know about them from other media. And that's just, I'm never going to support that. Never. It's like, dude, show me why I should care about these versions of the characters. It's like that moment with Bruce and Alfred, it's like they're expecting you to feel something because of, okay, we know Bruce and Alfred are like father and son, and they've done all these things over the years, and Alfred, but we didn't get to see any of that shit. We barely even got it mentioned. It's just like they expect you to know. And that moment just didn't do it for me. And Alfred is my favorite side character in all of fiction, in all of it. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, this is sad because of what I know about their relationship, but this version of them, I haven't seen any of that. It's dumb. And like, I felt like they did that with a lot of the characters in the movie, aside from like Penguin, I guess, and Riddler. But like the rest of them, it's like they just expect you to like almost like headcanon the Nolan trilogy in a way. It's just so dumb, and I hated that. Yeah, I mean that's all I really have to say about that part.
Yeah, I agree with you on many parts. I do think we got quite clear arcs for at least Catwoman, or you got some feeling that she's already done some cat stuff in her earlier days, because this was planned as a heist, right? But I think we got clear arcs for how the GCPD show can play out, how the Penguin show can play out, and how the Catwoman show can play out, and also obviously how the future, an upcoming sequel could play out. And that made me happy, because it brought some kind of continuity in some way and made it wider, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I see where you come from, where like it felt like if you're not a Batman fan, you won't really relate to these characters because they show too little. And for being a slow-paced movie of 2 hours and 55 minutes, you should have room for that. Definitely, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, like, again, I think this movie isn't bad. Like, I think it's above average, kind of in the bottom half of the good range. And I plan to watch it again tomorrow. Like, I've had a bunch of DC films where, like, I watched it the first time and I'm like, oh my god, this was like kind of garbage, or it wasn't what I expected. And then I watch it knowing what I'm in for again, and I'm like, okay, this was way better. It's just like, I don't know. I there was a lot of stuff. Also, I'd like to add the Falcone thing. Okay, you're right. That was something that I kind of didn't see coming, but at the same time I kind of did, because it's like these movies have this problem, and all of the Batman movies have this, where they just fucking want to kill all the villains, and it's just like, bro, come on. I get that they let pretty much every big villain live in this, which was awesome. Yeah. But I knew they were gonna kill someone. Like, I knew they were gonna kill someone. That shit had stayed for continuity issues. And it's just like, oh, here we go. It's gonna be Falcone. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think they were gonna do it 100% because, you know, Batman arrested him or whatever. So there's that. But yeah, that's just what I gotta say about the Falcone thing.
Yeah, and bringing back to what we spoke of on the Legion cast, right? About Riddler knowing Bruce Wayne's identity, so he might have to be killed off. I kind of liked how they made it seem like that in the trailers, but if I understood this correct, and I will also go and rewatch this movie, but if I understood it correct, he spoke of Bruce Wayne like the guy that they missed, the guy they didn't kill. So that was something that kind of, you know, caught me off guard, like, okay, so he didn't know, or did he know? Because Bruce looks really upset for a second there when he says Bruce Wayne a bunch of times, right? And then he says, like, the one we didn't kill. And I really enjoy the fact that they don't have to kill him off. Because, we will discuss this later, of course, but the cameo that brings up to the entire potential sequel was fucking awesome. And I'm really excited to see that duo.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's left up into interpretation whether Riddler knows or not. You're right. I didn't catch the one we didn't kill part, but if he said that, then I mean, maybe you're right. We'll move on from this little plot category, but one last thing I want to add, which is kind of unrelated to plot, but it's what we're talking about right now. Dude, I hate the idea that all the cells of the inmates are like just right there. Yeah, like, yeah. Why the hell are all the big supervillains right next to each other? Like, that's stupid. Like, did that person from the end not hear the conversation between Batman and Riddler somehow? And like, how many people are in Arkham Asylum? Why is there only one night guard watching them? Like, I don't know. It's just dumb. But let's go on.
Yeah, I felt that. Yeah, that's stupid. But I kind of understand because Matt Reeves spoke of two potential cameos, right? He spoke about the one with the laughter and the black screen, and he spoke about this one. I'm really happy that we got this one because it kind of brings in a bigger picture. Otherwise, oh fuck, sorry. Otherwise, I would have felt like it would have been similar to the Nolan trilogy, where in Batman Begins we get a hint of the Joker. Here we actually see his face. Kind of, or, you know, parts of his face, which I really thought was funny. And we'll speak more about that for the Joker cameo and also the future, but let's move. We've kind of covered characters as well, I think. Or what do you say?
Not necessarily, because I think, like, in terms of, like, characters and their personalities, there's a couple things to say.
Yeah, but let's move on to characters then.
Yeah, so I'll break down the major ones as quick as I can. Robert Pattinson's Batman. I think that his Batman is in terms of like technicality, like, okay, his gadgets and the way he talks and the way he fights and his morals, he is the most comic accurate Batman. I don't think he's the best, which is something I never thought I'd say, because I think now I'm starting to realize that comic accuracy isn't technically everything. He is the most comic accurate. I'm not sure if he's the best, and this is why. Rob is definitely not Robert Pattinson in this movie. He did a good performance. And his character's cool. The thing is that I feel like at times he's almost too vulnerable, to the point where, like, at the beginning of the movie he's super fucking intimidating. Like, it's like, holy shit, like, dude, you don't want to get fucking into a room with this guy. But then near the end, it's more like you see that he has weaknesses, and there's things that you can use against him. And it's just like, I've always viewed Batman as like, I mean, he is, how do I describe it? He isn't invulnerable for sure. Like, he's not unstoppable, but, he's more restrained by his physical limits as a human being. And he does have emotional weaknesses, but he keeps them under wraps because he doesn't want anybody to know, like, he's very much in control of his emotions. This Batman, I feel like there's some points where we almost see him cry. And it's just like, you can clearly see that he's bothered by some things. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe Batman always is like that, maybe deep down, but he never really shows it. And I get it, like, he's young and stuff. And like, I what I'm saying is, I feel the young bit of him in this a little too much. Like, it's almost like this is a grown man who has the emotional, like, the emotional level of a teenager. It's like the emotional level of a teenager in a grown man's body in a bat suit. And that just feels weird to me. I feel like in the sequel, when we have a more Batman that, like, knows who he is, and he's like been at this a little bit more, that they're gonna give us more of the Batman that I kind of know. But I mean, right now, like, that's really it. That's really my only complaint. It's like, there was too much vulnerability, but I mean, aside from that, he's fucking awesome. Riddler, I think Riddler was badass, completely badass, until the third act. Once he takes off the mask and we see that he's just a little punk that fucking sings songs, like, I don't know, he went full Jared Leto Joker mode to me in the interrogation room. And that he like, has a little fucking live stream with his little buddies, and he was like, tomorrow's the big day, guys, woo! Like, people in my theater were laughing at that part. And then for Penguin was good. I mean, he wasn't really in it too much, but he's accurate to the character. He's a little fucking snake for the mob, so that's cool with me. Catwoman was actually more enjoyable to me than I thought in this movie. The performance was good for what the movie needed it to be. She was super sneaky. She had a dark side to her, but also she had a side of her that wanted to help people at the same time. Gordon was good. I mean, he did what he had to do. Nothing too crazy there. Not better than Gary Oldman's Gordon or Ben McKenzie's Gordon to me. But also not bad. Andy Serkis' Alfred, we didn't get any time with him, so I can't really say much. I mean, he clearly loves Bruce, and he's clearly seen some shit, so there's potential there too. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, there's just potential everywhere. Maybe in the sequels it'll come to light, but at the moment it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's better than most shit we've gotten, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on Batman, and I can't say for sure, obviously, but I hope that, because I don't know if you're aware of the discussions they've had with, the cast when they've had interviews and such, where they speak about the growth of Batman and Bruce Wayne for future movies. I hope it's intentional that he is portrayed in this way, because there is supposed to be a growth and a character development throughout more movies. As you say, there is a potential in every character. So I hope that there is potential in each and every character. Like, it's supposed to seem like they're like with Bruce Wayne, it's supposed to, it's supposed to be shown that he's vulnerable. I can't say that for sure. I hope it is in that way, because I agree, like, until on the third act with Bruce Wayne or Batman, it felt like he got punched, then he uses his adrenaline and kicks his, no wait, he gets punched, he hangs, he climbs up, gets punched again, hangs, and then he uses the adrenaline, kicks this guy's butt, then he gets electrocuted and then falls down in the water. It feels like he got a little bit too vulnerable at that point for me. It felt like you obviously understood that he would survive, so I don't know why they made it such. They tried to find a climax that really wasn't there, but I still enjoyed it in many ways. With Paul Dano's Riddler, I think I enjoyed each and every part of it, and I enjoyed the ending as well because it felt like, especially when he was in Arkham for the last part, because you kind of really understood how fucking crazy this man is. Because I was wondering like a lot with, how is Batman a part of this, and what the fuck does he want with Batman? The truth is like, he has an obsession with Batman that kind of, I don't know if it fits well with the Riddler. I thought it fit well with this version of Riddler either way. Like, he got a obsession with Batman that I wouldn't really say come close to the Joker, but it's, you know, in the same tone in a certain way where he wants to believe that they're best friends and in need of each other in a certain way. And I really enjoyed that in one way, but maybe not in another. But I thought it was cool. With Gordon, I liked Gordon a lot too. I thought his acting was quite plain in the beginning, but that stepped up with the movie. And yeah, what can I say other than that? I thought that each and every character gave great performances as well as actors. I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I mean, it felt more to me like, okay, Riddler was a crazy person. He definitely was, but the Riddler that we saw, like, the whole, like, and fucking, like, oh, time's running out. That Riddler was a persona. It wasn't really him. Like, he was acting. It was almost like, how sick can I pretend to be? He did want to do terrible things. He did. But that personality was something like an image he was putting on for the people of Gotham. And I don't know, that just made it seem far less intimidating to me. I think his obsession, what you were talking about, I did feel like it was like a little bit of a Joker thing, which I didn't necessarily like, but I think their obsessions are different. I think the Joker loves Batman and wants to like be his best friend or whatever. I don't think Riddler's necessarily was that. I think Riddler was more obsessed with Batman's
corruption. Fighting corruption, kind of.
Well, I think Riddler was more obsessed with Batman's use of fear and his dark side. He was more obsessed with like, Batman is a person who uses fear as a weapon, and I can relate to that. I can relate to the idea of hiding behind a mask. Which is what I'm saying is Riddler doing, essentially. I mean, the mask wasn't really him. And Riddler brought that up. He said, you know, that was my mask, but this is who you really are. We both wear masks, but this is who you really are. So I don't know. I think it was a different obsession. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't again terrible to me. I'd say I'd give his Riddler like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Something like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him again.
Yeah, I totally agree. As you mentioned, yeah, he's kind of said something in between the lines of, you know, when he put the mask on, it became different, or you know, he could be, he's real, or you know, something in between those lines. And I really liked the writing and dialogue between the characters. I also liked the journal part. That was actually something I wrote down for my own fan-made Batman movie. Like, no one has used this. And then I watched it like, okay, fuck, never mind then. So I thought that was.
I like that Batman journals because it gives like a movie reason for why, you know, when you're reading comic books and there's like a narration. Yeah. It kind of gives a movie reason for that. Also, I'm a journaler myself, so I just like that. I think it's like, it's a very stoic and good practice for reflection that I think every human being should do. And I mean, Batman's really intelligent, so he does it. My one complaint with that is he only journals like twice in the movie.
Yeah, in the beginning and
I thought there would be more. Like, you know, everybody's like, oh, like it's a very like Batman narrates the whole movie and shit. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought so too.
All right, what's the next?
Let's move on to action, then it's pacing, then Joker cameo, and the future. So let's move on to action. You go first.
What can I say, man? That was the biggest letdown to me. I've always hated how Batman films have almost no action, because it's like, dude, this guy is one of the world's greatest martial artists. Like, action is in his toolbox. Like, and people love action movies. I don't know. If you look at the movie, like on Google or like IMDb or like whatever, the genre says action and mystery or crime. Come on, man. This isn't an action movie. My issue is that the movie was I mean, we always knew it was going to be a detective movie. But the movie was marketed to have so much action. Like, if you look at the trailers, there's so many fight scenes and there's so many like high stakes shit. It's not like a bunch of like the talking and stuff. So I don't know. I was let down. I thought there would be more action than there was. I would say this movie probably has the least amount of action in any Batman film. And that's an issue for me because that was my biggest gripes with the Nolan trilogy. And I know some people are going to be like, well, it's a detective story, not an action story. And it's like, bro, I get it. But Batman is both a superhero and a detective, okay? He's both. He does both of those things, and you don't have to have one over the other. That's the same problem that the Nolan trilogy had. They tried to focus on Batman's like fighting skill or whatever and didn't have any detective sides. And now this is the opposite. They try to focus on Batman's detective skills and didn't have any of the action. So it's just like, just find a mix of both. You can do both. Like, I don't know, it's stupid. And then the thing that bugged me the most was like, I don't have to have 50 action scenes in a movie either. But make them long, okay? Like, if you're gonna have an action scene, make it 3 to 4 minutes. Dude, these action scenes were like 50 seconds. It was just like the Nolan trilogy. It pissed me off. The only one that was long was the final one. And even that was like, in between it, there were like moments of slow-mo and like characters saying lines and shit. So like, it wasn't a 4-minute action scene technically. I don't know. I did like the last one though. I think it's the best action scene we've ever got besides the warehouse scene. But it still wasn't enough for me for 3 hours, man. Jesus Christ. I don't know.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I also, yeah, for a detective movie, I don't necessarily think it would be needed. I would definitely not have minded seeing longer action sequences, but the ones we got, I think it's, you know, one thing I hate with the Nolan trilogy, and I really hate that, it's how they use camera work for action scenes. First off, the hits looks really underwhelming, and they cut each and every punch. With this, it was a how the fuck do you say it? No, what the fuck is it called?
Choreography.
Yeah, choreography. There was a choreography for each and every fight, and it was not an overwhelming of cutting all the time. And that's something I really enjoy, because that's how the warehouse scene is as well. Like, they don't cut unnecessarily much. They do the fight in a certain way, and it looks really good when they do it. And I really enjoy the way the fights were. I really like the iceberg launch one as well, and the beginning one that we've already seen, of course. But yeah, I wouldn't have mind bigger or longer fighting scenes. And then I understand that it might be hard when it's focused on the Riddler as a main villain, because he's not a fighter. But I hope they bring in like Deathstroke or something like that in the future and make longer ones as well.
Yeah, I would definitely want 2 villains. Like, I mean, keep the theme of multiple villains in a movie. I like the idea of having a villain that challenges Batman's physical strength and having a villain that challenges his intellectual strength in the same movie. That would be cool. I don't know. I will say this, like, for the short amount of action that we do see, I do like how it's choreographed. I definitely do like it. But it pisses me off because it's just like, I was so hyped the entire time to see that I'm Vengeance fight. Like, I'm like, dude, that's gonna be badass. Like, Daredevil level shit. And then I watched the movie, and literally every like part of it I've already seen in a trailer or TV spot. It's like, dude, I don't know. Like, it literally every punch, kick, whatever was shown in these trailers and TV spots, and it's just like, man, like, what a waste, dude. Yeah. I don't know. It was a letdown for me in that aspect.
I felt like there was a lot of stuff hidden, but at the same time, like, they had to kind of market it with the amount of action the movie had, and the amount they had would have been really, I think it would have been much better if they didn't do like 15 TV spots, 5 trailers, and, you know, all that, because all the action was more or less shown, as you said, and that was really bad. But I think like if wouldn't have watched, and for you and me it's hard because we kind of work with this stuff, right? So it's hard for us to not see all of this. But if I wouldn't have seen it, I think I would have enjoyed the action parts much more. But yeah, I feel like they became underwhelming for sure.
Dude, I totally agree, because there was one part in the movie that I was just like, bro, like, it sucks because they showed this in a fucking trailer. They didn't need to show this in a trailer to get people in seats, but they did. If they hadn't shown that in a trailer, so I'm talking about the part when he goes to Falcone and he's fighting the people in the darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, if they hadn't shown that in a trailer and we would have seen that in a theater, I guarantee we would have been like, holy shit, holy fuck. But they did. They did show it. So, like, everybody already knew it was coming. We already knew what it looked like. But, dude, that would have been fucking sick if they had never shown it in a trailer. But, oh well.
I agree. Totally. I think, also I want to mention how much I enjoyed the Batmobile scene. I really enjoyed that one. Especially the sound. I don't know if you thought about that, but it sounded so fucking good. Dude,
that was one of the... And again, it was ruined, though, because the little jumping out of the fire thing, we already knew that was coming. That was another example of that. But regardless of that, dude, that scene was one of the highlights to me. Like, I like sitting in that theater and just hearing that thing go, like, it was like drifting and shit, dude. That shit was dope. Like, that was a movie theater type of scene right there. Like, you needed to see in a movie. And like the whole when it's hiding in the darkness, like, I'm like, oh shit, that was dope. So I will say I like that scene, but it pisses me off because every Batman movie has a good chase scene. We don't need good chase scenes. The Dark Knight one with the Joker and the Batmobile taking the rocket launcher, that shit is fucking awesome. We don't need more good Batmobile scenes. We need more hand-to-hand combat scenes. So I don't know.
I agree completely. Moving from action to pacing, what were your thoughts on the pacing of the movie?
So I kind of like and dislike the pacing at the same time because, first off, I can't believe I did this, but I actually went to go take a piss during the movie, which broke my heart because, I'm a Batman fan. I like to stick it through the end, but luckily they had released that funeral scene online. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it there. But whatchamacallit, the pacing was... It's a very slow movie. Like, you can really tell that it's 3 hours. But I like that, though, because it's like, yeah, man, like, I get a lot of Batman. Like, but, so I was happy in the sense that it was like, I didn't feel like, damn, I wish I could have seen more. But, dude, like... For people who like action films and people who have a low attention span or like our MCU fans or whatever, I cannot see them sitting through this. No, it's almost impossible. Like, and it's because, like I said, if you have action scenes, it helps a lot with that, because it's like you have a little bit of a slow burn and then it's like this keeps you in, and then a slow burn and this keeps you in. But dude, I don't know why people are talking about the third and first act. I thought those acts were awesome. For me, the second act is where this movie falls flat. Dude, the second act is long as fuck. It's just like, bro, get to the point. But I don't know. That's how I felt.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed the whole... Because we've never really gotten a deep diving into the story. Like, the story... How can I say this? Most of the Batman movies have been full-blown action movies, but this one really deep dived to the story in this second part, and I really do understand the complaints about it being too little action there, but I really enjoyed just seeing the mind of Batman there, just going full completely. Okay, so this is connected with this, and then it gets a bit fucked up, and all of that. I just really fucking love that. I don't know why, I really love the pacing. I have a sweet spot for pacing like this. I can stay biased. I can't. I really enjoyed the crap out of the pacing because it felt different, and I think that's what I like with those types of movies. Like when you watch, the DCU or a Marvel movie, you usually have a really repetitive pacing in a certain way, and this just felt different, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was different, but I don't know. I just think it isn't for everybody, and I think like it eliminates a lot of the audience.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely like makes it harder for a lot of people, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't, because I've actually seen a really positive reaction from the majority of people online. So I don't know, maybe some people were dying for a movie like this. Maybe I'm the odd one out. That's perfectly fine too. I mean, if people love a Batman movie, that's gonna be a win for me regardless.
Yeah.
So
same.
I mean, that's really all I gotta say about the pacing.
Yeah. I feel the same. Like, even if I personally would have hated this movie, as long as other people, like, as long as Batman fans and DC fans overall like this movie, I would be satisfied, because DC has gone to hell for such a long time. I'm really excited to see it move up a bit. But let's move on from pacing to the Joker cameo. And before we start, I want to say I'm sorry for ever doubting you, dude.
Hey, real quick. Give me a second to just go outside for a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Just cut that part out. Sorry, I gotta go outside real quick.
No worries.
Okay, so okay, yeah. What was it?
Sorry for ever doubting you, dude.
Dude, it's all right. I mean, like, it's all right. I mean, I'm not a source or whatever, and I definitely didn't figure this out on my own. Like, I had somebody who told me, and they had told me stuff before. Like, you know, when Joker 2019 came out?
Yeah.
So that same person had essentially sent me the entire script. And I was like, dude, like, at first I didn't believe it. I was like, yo, this script, there's no way. But then I saw the movie and it was pretty much the exact thing. So I was like, holy shit. So I was like, yeah, this guy's legit. Whenever things have to do with the Joker, he usually sends me shit. And what happened was, I had made a post and I was like, yeah, like, to all the people saying, like, we shouldn't have Joker in this movie, like, that's fucked up. Like, Batman and the Joker are completely inseparable. Like, I get wanting to have other villains, and we can definitely do that, but you need to have the Joker. And he sent me a message and he said, hey, don't worry, Joker's in it. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. And then he gave me the details or whatever, and I was like, who's playing him? And he was like, Barry Keoghan. And I was like, I thought he was Officer Stanley Merkel. And then he's like, fuck no. He's like, that's just a burner name. And as closer and closer as we got, I was like, damn, this dude's definitely telling the truth again. And I mean, as you can see, it's true. So yeah, don't worry about it. But just know, next time, if I get another something and I say it's from that guy, you can probably assume it's true.
Yeah. But one thing, I don't know if you looked close on the credits. They had Barry Keoghan before they had Colin Farrell in the credits, but you nearly don't see him at all in the entire movie except for in that scene, right? So that was
really... I didn't notice that, but I know it's the same thing on IMDb and stuff. Like, he's very high credited in the credits, and I think it's because he's gonna have a huge part in this universe.
Oh, yes, I mean, so too.
That's what it is. I mean, like, he's essentially the main villain, and I think that other villains will definitely get their chance. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they already have. I mean, we've already got Riddler, Catwoman, and Penguin. That's a shit ton of villains for the first movie that aren't the Joker. You know. But yeah, I don't know. I think the GCPD show is actually about him. By the way.
Probably. I think so too, and also about kind of fixing up Gotham after. Based on the Year One comic book storyline. You know, the whole fucking water taking over the streets of Gotham, more or less. I think it's cleaning up from that as well, a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I had heard that a while back, and now Matt Reeves, I'm pretty sure you saw the interview, but he came out and said that the GCPD show is actually about Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely about the Joker. Like, I had heard rumors that it was about his origin in this universe. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. But if you notice, though, he does actually hint at that, because Riddler says, who are you? And Joker's like, well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the one thing that got me so fucking happy. Both that he had this fucking, chemical burned face, and also that he's wondering what his origin is. That gives me such a huge fucking The Killing Joke vibe, so it just screams of it, and it's like one of my favorite storylines. So I was so fucking excited when I saw that.
Yeah, I will say I actually have gripes with that scene though. I think I do like that. I do like the fact that he's in Arkham too, because it's like, okay, these guys have fought before, you know? Yeah. And that's cool. I prefer that over the whole like, oh, we see a Joker card and I don't know. I like that, but I will say, to me, some of the dialogue was kind of cheesy, and I didn't like the look too much, but only because I can't see it. You know, it's just like, it's hard to see, and I from what I get, he looks a little like Two-Face, and it's like...
Yeah, I thought it was Two-Face first. I actually did, but I think that's mostly because you don't see the other half, so you kind of get confused. Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not though. Like, I've had some people message me and be like, "Oh, dude, that's Two-Face," and it's like, dude, he mentions clowns and he laughs. That's not Two-Face. Yeah. It's clearly the Joker. And I another thing, like, and also I don't know, I just felt like Keoghan's performance there was kind of like weak and cheesy, but I'm not gonna fault him for it because, again, it's only like 30 seconds. You know, it's the same thing as Jared Leto. We don't really know what he's gonna act like. I mean, maybe he's doing something different just because it was a cameo. There's a bunch of little factors that could be in there. Yeah. We have to wait until we see the actual performance. Another thing I did like, though, is I don't know if people are realizing this, but I think they're actually trying to cater to both people who want Joker and less Joker. Because I think what they're doing is they're actually going to do a villain team-up, like in the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Because Joker calls him a friend. I think it's very much one of those things where, like, it's like those Batman the Animated Series episodes where all the villains get together against Batman.
Yeah.
But Joker's the main boss.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's always the one that puts it together, and he's the one that Batman will fight last. But the other ones also get their part in it. So, I think it's cool. Maybe they're setting up an Arkham Asylum movie where Joker takes over the asylum and the villains get their own part in it. Yeah, that would be awesome. So,
and especially how he says, like, good thing that Gotham likes a comeback, and then both starts laughing like, I don't know, Girl Scouts or, you know, whatever. It kind of sets it up, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, some people are worried like, oh man, here we go again, Joker, and it's like, dude, I think that scene was showing, like, even if Joker's coming back, he definitely isn't going to be doing this alone. So, like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, there's going to be other villains in this, and they're going to have huge parts too.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention that I really hope for is, you know, Matt Reeves has spoken a lot about villains he wants to take in, and he's spoken about Mr. Freeze, for example. Like, he think he could do a grounded version of that, and that's something I really would freaking love to see, because I really miss the fact that we haven't seen Mr. Freeze in live action, except for Arnold Schwarzenegger and also the guy in Gotham. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I remember him though.
Yeah. I feel like in live action, I want to see a really good Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to see Freeze, but it's, for me though, I don't know, I'm not desperate to get Freeze, and if we do get Freeze, I want him to be like the comics. I don't want a grounded take. That's been my issue with all this Matt Reeves stuff. I think that he'll change his mind. I think that he'll be like, okay, we can do a little bit of both. I don't think he wants to keep things completely grounded, but for me, it's like, I don't need the grounded shit. We already got that in the Nolan trilogy, bro. Like, you can be dark, but, like, man, come on, like, these are still comic books at the end of the day. Like, if you're just dark and grounded, you're just doing what Nolan did all over again. Like, be the hero for us comic fans and do a mix of both, dude. Just like the animated series did. That'll be dope.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like, you still need the grounded part for him to feel human, or yeah. But if you go too grounded, it just feels repetitive. I felt like with this movie, we got a good mixture, but I kind of want to see this mixture more fleshed out in the future movies and such.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like, I watched John Campia's show. I don't know if you know him, but there's this guy on there named Rob, and he talks, and he says that this is like the most realistic Batman or whatever, and I don't think so. I think the Nolan trilogies was actually more realistic. Like, definitely. This is definitely grounded, don't get me wrong, but I think there's like bits in here that are a little fantastical too. And like for example, like in Nolan's trilogy, there was no way he was gonna take like 3 clips of an assault rifle to the chest, bro. There
No.
was there was no way that would ever happen. So you've already got some of the comic booky stuff in this, and it still works. So like, just give into it, man. I mean, especially if you know who actually has those chemical burns on his face, then
Yeah.
we already know that happened and he lives. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Also, like I think that we could go even more comic, like give a more comic book vibe because after like a potential Lucius Fox arrives, because this is supposed to be homemade as well. If we look back at the Nolan trilogy, he already got like all of these huge gadgets from Lucius Fox, and he still wouldn't be able to take a bullet. This is homemade bullshit, and he handles it so fucking well. So I think that if we get Lucius Fox in the universe sometime soon, I think we could go even more wild with the whole comic book accuracy. Yeah.
Also, I'd like to add, because one thing that we haven't touched about that I'd like to say, dude, I fucking love the idea of like those lenses in his eyes
Oh yeah, they
during
were
the
so
movie.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, those were dope. And oh my god, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he goes to like the mayor's house and he sees the kid.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I fucking love how like in that scene, they don't say it, but you're like exactly what he's saying. He's like, fuck, like it happened again, like another kid lost his fucking parent. And then when he goes back to the cave and it's playing on the TV and Alfred's just watching that part because he knows exactly what Bruce is thinking,
Yeah, that I fucking loved. As I said earlier, that they didn't have too many scenes together, but the scenes they had was they gave me goosebumps and shit. Like I really fucking love that.
Yeah, I love that scene too for sure. That scene was fucking dope.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit? Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Now we've both covered the Joker cameo, and do you feel like you have more to add on the future, or do you think we got that covered as well? Because the Batman sets a lot of shit up. It sets up the Penguin show because in the ending of his arc, the whole ruling Gotham part is completely free since Carmine is out of the picture. It sets up the GCPD show with Joker and Riddler. It sets up Catwoman in Bloodhaven, which I also think is quite cool that he used as a bit of a continuity right there. I really like that as well.
Yeah, I wanted to add that. I like that they mentioned Bloodhaven. Like, there definitely was a lot of world building in this,
Yeah.
So, again, for me, it's just like, yeah, I'm hyped to see the TV shows and the second movie and stuff. It's like there's a lot to explore here, and I think it's one of those things where it'll actually get 10 times better the more we learn about the characters and see it. I feel like it's kind of like the MCU. It's like it starts off good, but it's not like crazy good. But then once you know these characters and their arcs and stuff for a while, it's like, damn, dude, like I really want to see these characters get to the point they have to get to.
Yeah. Saying like, as for a start, I think they delivered very, very well. And I'm really, really excited to see how this will develop throughout the years, because it really does seem like Matt Reeves has a lot of fucking ideas for this universe, which I'm really happy to see. So yeah, as for a start for a cinematic Batman universe, I think like they did it for me. I love that.
Yeah, I think in that sense it's like, yeah, I mean it lived up to it. And I mean it was dope, and I guess we'll see soon. I think we'll probably see the Penguin show next year. I think the important thing is if they do want to do this universe stuff, which is how it seems right now, they have to at least put something out every year. Like whether it's a TV show or a movie or whatever, I mean you have to keep it going though.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, and it's it's only March, so I mean even if they release it in November next year, I mean that's good enough. You just hit that year mark, and it'll be all right.
I think so too, definitely. Like you have to kind of have to feed the universe for it to not fade away and to feel big and feel real, So yeah, I totally agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, at the moment, and it might change. I haven't posted my review on my page yet because I I just want to give it a second run, but at the moment, I think it is the most comic accurate Batman. It is a movie that is good at some of the things it does, not everything. It's not a bad movie. It was just ruined by the delays and being overhyped for too long, but it's a good foundation, and I think that if you're wanting to make a Batman universe, that's doing that's the first step. So definitely a win at the moment.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we covered everything there. So thank you so much, Jason, or maybe you want to go by the Legion of Geeks. I don't know, but thank you so much for being here today. It was really fun to have this review with you, and also make sure to check out his Instagram page. It's down in the description, and also the Legion of Geeks pod, who is also a really great pod where we discuss a lot of stuff like this. I've been in one. I'm going to be in more. I promise. It's really fun. But
yeah, dude, I fucking love having you on it. We have fun. There's something euphoric about getting on and like talking about this stuff with other people who get it, because like talking to your friends and family in real life who don't really read comics, it's just like, why can't you see things the way I do?
Yeah, exactly.
But like, yeah, it's good talking about it with people who understand. And yeah, man, if you ever want me to do this with you again, bro, I'm always down, man.
Yeah. I'd love for you to be here again. It would be a lot of fun.
For sure. All right, bro, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.